Singing in jail. Barnabas takes John Mark and they go back to their home area, Cyprus. Paul takes Silas and starts what's generally known as Paul's second missionary journey. I find there's three interesting aspects to this particular story. First of all, Paul picks up two very important additions to the team. First of all, in Lystra, he adds Timothy and takes him on the journey. At Troas, he picks up Luke. And now Luke only stays with him for a while. He actually just simply goes across the sea and goes to Philippi, and there he stays there. When Paul and Silas move on, Luke stays there. You can see this very clearly in the book of Acts, because wherever Luke is there, he always says we and us real strong and gives a lot of detail. Everywhere else, he talks about them and they. After Paul leaves him at Philippi, near the end of the third missionary journey, he goes back to Philippi, and then at that point, Luke goes with him and continues going to Jerusalem with him and on to Rome. The second interesting thing I find about this passage is that Paul circumcises Timothy. He had just fought the battle. He had just held true to the fact that they don't have to be circumcised, that Gentiles, but for the sake of the gospel, for the sake of those Jews that were around there, he went ahead and circumcises them. I find that so interesting. Paul is the example of missionaries down through the year. He's considered the first great missionary. And in this area right here, he is an example. Almost every missionary I know, when they're back at their home turf, back at their home country, they take certain positions that are important back there. But as soon as they get to the field, not as soon, but soon after they get to the field, all of a sudden they are making different decisions. Not that they have changed their position, but that now they're on the front line. Now they're in the war. Now there's battles to be won. And you set aside those things. And missionaries around the world have told me, from all denominations, they have told me, well, we just don't talk about these things when we go home. Paul is an example of this right here. He has fought the battle. He's taken the position. He's written a book on this very issue. And yet he circumcises Timothy. Well, I find that the third interesting thing is that in Philippi, they take Paul and Silas before the court, and they never talk about the fact that they are Roman citizens. They're beaten, put in prison, the earthquake. It's not till afterwards, when the officials want them to leave, do they say, no, we're not leaving. We are Roman citizens and you beat us without a trial. Oh, that meant that, to be beaten without a trial was absolutely a violation of Roman law. And those who were doing the beating, the city officials themselves, could be tried and killed. But my question is, why didn't Paul mention this before the end right there? Why didn't he bring it up earlier? There may be a very logical answer to that. I just don't know what it is. Great story. Come back when we give you more insights on the story.